There are places on Earth where time seems frozen in a cycle of violence, where generations are born, live, and die to the accompaniment of gunshots and explosions, where the land itself, of incredible beauty, is soaked in blood and tears. Kashmir is one such place. Today, May 7, 2025, as the world once again holds its breath due to another escalation on the Indo-Pakistani border, as Pakistan authorizes a military response to alleged Indian strikes that have claimed lives, it is worth looking back, because the current crisis is no accident. It is merely another, painfully predictable chapter in a saga that did not begin yesterday and, alas, is unlikely to end tomorrow. This is a story of partition, betrayal, unfulfilled promises, and geopolitics steeped in blood. It all began in 1947, when the British Empire, exhausted by World War II, hastily withdrew from India, leaving behind chaos and bloodshed. The subcontinent was divided along religious lines into the Indian Union and Pakistan. But what to do with the hundreds of semi-independent princely states, which were given the choice to join India, Pakistan, or theoretically remain independent? Kashmir, or more precisely the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, was a special case, a jewel of the Himalayas with a predominantly Muslim population, but ruled by a Hindu Maharaja, Hari Singh. The Maharaja hesitated. Pakistan, the newborn state for Muslims, considered Kashmir its rightful territory. India, building a secular state, also had designs on it. In October 1947, when armed tribal militias from Pakistan, not without the support of the Pakistani military, invaded Kashmir, the Maharaja panicked and appealed to India for help. The price of help? Signing the instrument of accession to India. Indian troops were airlifted to Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir, and the First Indo-Pakistani War became a reality. The 1947–48 war was brutal. It ended with UN intervention in 1949 and the establishment of a ceasefire line, which divided Kashmir into Indian and Pakistani-administered parts. This line, later renamed the Line of Control, LOC, became a de facto border, but did not bring peace. Importantly, UN resolutions called for a plebiscite, a referendum in which Kashmiris themselves were to decide their fate. This referendum never took place. India argued that Pakistan had not fulfilled the preconditions by withdrawing its troops. Pakistan accused India of unwillingness to give Kashmiris the right to vote. The Kashmiris found themselves hostages in a great game. The promise made by the international community drowned in a swamp of mutual accusations and geopolitical interests. The following decades were a series of wars and local conflicts. In 1965, Pakistan attempted to instigate an uprising in Indian-administered Kashmir, leading to the second full-scale war. The status quo remained. In 1971, during the war for Bangladesh's independence, East Pakistan, India and Pakistan clashed again. And although the main theater of operations was in the east, tension in Kashmir persisted. The Simla Agreement of 1972 solidified the line of control and obliged the parties to resolve the Kashmir issue through bilateral negotiations. The late 1980s marked the beginning of a powerful armed insurgency in Indian-administered Kashmir. Discontent with Indian rule, allegations of election rigging, and a fueling of separatist sentiments from abroad, India consistently accused Pakistan of supporting militants, led to decades of bloodshed. Thousands died, hundreds of thousands became refugees, especially Kashmiri Pandits, the Hindu minority. Human rights were violated by all sides of the conflict. In 1999, the world was again on the brink of a major war during the Kargil conflict. Pakistani military and militants they supported secretly infiltrated the Indian side of the line of control in high-altitude areas. India responded with a massive military operation. For the first time since both countries acquired nuclear weapons, India tested in 1974 and 1998, Pakistan in 1998. There was a real threat of their use. International pressure, especially from the US, forced Pakistan to withdraw. The acquisition of nuclear status by India and Pakistan did not resolve the Kashmir issue, but only made it more dangerous. Any escalation now carried the risk of a nuclear catastrophe. There were periods of relative calm, attempts at dialogue, ceasefire agreements, for example, in 2003, but they proved fragile. Terrorist attacks attributed to Pakistan-based groups, such as the attack on the Indian Parliament in 2001 or the Mumbai attacks in 2008, repeatedly set relations back. In 2019, India took a radical step. It revoked Article 370 of its constitution, which granted special autonomous status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The region was divided into 2 union territories, directly administered from New Delhi. This move was met with mass protests in Kashmir, suppressed by harsh security measures, including communication blackouts and arrests of political leaders, and sharp condemnation from Pakistan. Tensions soared sky high again. And so we come to today, May 7, 2025. Reports of Indian strikes, loss of life, and Pakistan's decision to authorize a military response are not just news reports. They are echoes of all previous wars, all unresolved contradictions, all accumulated hatred and mistrust. Every shot fired on the line of control today risks becoming a detonator. Every harsh statement by politicians adds fuel to the fire. The international community calls for restraint, but are these calls heard in New Delhi and Islamabad, where hawks often carry more weight than doves of peace? Why does this conflict seem so intractable? First, national identity and ideology. For Pakistan, Kashmir is the unfinished business of partition, a symbol of Muslim solidarity. For India, it is an integral part of its territory, a symbol of its secular and multi-confessional character. For either side to back down is tantamount to national humiliation. Second, strategic importance. Kashmir is not just mountains and valleys. It is the source of key rivers vital for agriculture in both countries. It is a strategically important foothold, also bordering China and Afghanistan. Third, domestic politics. The Kashmir card is actively played in domestic politics in both India and Pakistan. A hardline stance often brings political dividends. Fourth, the role of external forces. Although the conflict is essentially bilateral, it has always been part of a broader geopolitical game. At different times, the US, China, and formerly the USSR played their roles, pursuing their own interests. Fifth, deep mutual distrust. Decades of conflict have created a chasm of distrust that is extremely difficult to overcome. Any move by the other side is perceived through the prism of worse suspicions. Sixth, the fate of the Kashmiris. And, of course, one cannot forget the Kashmiris themselves. Their aspirations, their right to self-determination, their suffering often find themselves on the periphery of the big players' interests. Different groups within Kashmir have different views on the future. Some favor independence, some accession to Pakistan. Some, perhaps a silent majority, simply want peace and a normal life under whosoever's rule. The conclusions are disheartening. Until there is a fundamental shift in the thinking of the elites in India and Pakistan, until there is a real willingness for compromise, until the interests of the Kashmiri people are put front and center, the region is doomed to remain a powder keg. The current escalation is another reminder of how close 2 nuclear powers are walking along the precipice. Peace in Kashmir is possible, but it requires courage, political will, and the recognition that there is no military solution to this conflict. There is only the path of dialogue, mutual concessions, and respect for the rights of all people living in this long-suffering land. The only question is how much more blood must be shed before this path is chosen.